Okie dokie. Computer. Pooter. Refresh that. Refresh that. Close that. All right. Okay. We can go. Right. Righty. VTune. Intel VTune. Okay, so it's installed. So how do we now use it? How do we now use it? Come on, really? Yeah. Do not consent. Configure analysis. I think it's run a demo on how to start an analysis and view performance data. Okay, then. So new project. All right, then we select a system to run the analysis. Okay. Wait, this is exactly the same as what I ran the other day that didn't work because you have to launch Fortnite. You have to launch Fortnite from a command line. What was I using the other day then? I was using some kind of profiler. I think it was the NVIDIA profiler. And you had to, yeah. This is exactly the same as the NVIDIA one that I was using. Perhaps time is a great indicator of tuning efforts. Right. I don't know whether this is going to let me do it just on a system level or whether I have to do it on a Fortnite level. The problem with the Fortnite level, Paul, problem with the Fortnite level is easy anti-cheat will block it. It won't allow any injection of monitoring code. I tried this with the NVIDIA one the other yesterday, I think it was. Localhost, fine. I don't want to launch an application. Pretty sure this won't work because it has to launch it and it has to inject code, and it won't do it because of easy anti-cheat. So what I'm doing, Paul, is I went on, after watching those silly videos, went into creative and I was just looking at my top end FPS. Oh, excuse me. And top end FPS, and it's about 100, 200 lower today than it was like a week or so ago. So I don't know whether it's the new drivers or whatever. But my CPU utilization uncapped is in the 60s. You would have thought the CPU would be, I'm saying that, as long as I've got the right metrics, should be the 100. But there was also a ton of CPU I don't know, the weight. I don't know, it's waiting on something. So I wanted to look at whether it's the memory it's waiting on. And I found a thing here that you can use Intel VTune amplifier, and you can actually look at the bandwidth utilization for your kind of caches and stuff. So I wanted to do this. Click on the new memory access analysis type and click start. Okay, so, but my issue here is, so I've downloaded it and installed it. My issue is here is whether it can actually needs to start the Fortnite executable, because it looks like it does. Please launch the game. Yeah, this is the same code as the exactly the same code as the NVIDIA one. Yeah, exactly the same app. It's just rebranded with Intel. Weird. Hey, Mike. So yeah, it's not doing it. How do I do? What's this? How do I do this? Is there? No, it has to be that, but then it wants to launch an application. Oh, profile system. Oh, okay. Maybe I can do that instead. Advanced. Just do a quick one. Okay. Anything else I can do in here? I want to see memory. Where's that memory thing? This is a how section. Okay. Cannot perform hardware collection of CPU events on the system. To enable system-wide analysis, install a sampling driver. Do I want to do that? So I'm going to get it to work first. I need to do the memory. I want this memory access. Okay. Measure a set of metrics to identify memory access related issues. This analysis type is based on the hardware event. Oh. Cannot. So I need these sampling drivers. Really don't want to be doing this on my main environment, to be honest. I don't really want to install this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uninstall what I've just installed. I'm going to reinstall it on my other environment. I don't really want to be adding drivers to this main gaming environment that I don't need. So I'm going to take this out, what I've just done. We'll do it on the other environment. Which makes actually install on this. Right, Intel Profiler, get rid of that. We'll jump over to the other one, install it there. Down. Install. It's just weird. It's weird that it's doing 60% CPU on the highest core, 60%. That makes no sense to me. And it's unlimited FPS. So something's bottlenecking, and it's not the GPU, it's not the CPU, it's not the disk, it's not the network. That literally only leaves the memory. So we can install it on the other environment. All right. Let's switch environments. Oh, it's just bugging me. It's really bugging me. There's like a handbrake on at the moment, and it's either the memory or it's the game engine code. One of the two. That's all that's left. If Clicks is getting like 1400 FPS on a $10,000 gaming PC, there's no way he bought AMD. No way he bought AMD. How is he doing that? $10,000 gaming PC will be Intel. There's no way. I mean, I can't make an AMD gaming PC for $10,000. Surely, how would you do that? Because the Intel one is more expensive, the CPU, and it needs more cooling, which costs a lot more because you've got all the custom cooling. Whereas the AMD one doesn't need all the cooling. Yeah, so Ninja and Clicks and things are spending like $10,000. So, I mean, if you go on, I don't know, Overclockers UK, and you buy a pre one, gaming PCs, I don't know, 8K gaming PCs, I don't know, let's whack it right up. High-end PCs. What's the most expensive ones here? There. I mean, £23,000. Oh, that's using a Threadripper. Okay. Who spends £23,000 on a gaming PC that will not be any faster than a normal one for £2,000? This is insane. Why? Why is that? I mean, I spent what? I spent 4,300-ish, 4,000, maybe 4,500. And I literally got the best Intel CPU you could get, the best cooling you could get for it, the best memory I could get for it, the second best GPU I could get for it, as many fans as I could get for it, the best case I could get for it. Literally, the only thing I didn't get that isn't the best possible thing was a 4080 versus a 4090 GPU. And that would have cost an extra £700 if I'd done that. That's literally the only thing I didn't max out on. How can you spend this amount of money on this hardware? It's insane. 32,000. What? What? Yeah, it's this guy that's doing it. 32,000. You are not paying for the hardware when you do this. You are paying, I don't know, for the time it takes them to create the custom loop. You are definitely not paying for the hardware. Holy moly. Okay, so it's got two 4090 GPUs in it. And the CPU has 56 cores. Pretty sure Fortnite won't run on more than 8. You are literally pouring money down the drain. But anyway, yeah, I know, Paul. I mean, that's mental. Anyone spending this amount of money. I mean, it's, to be honest, I mean this one's 23, and then I mean even 10. I mean, what are you getting for 10 grand? The memory's slower. You're getting a 4090. So what are you getting for 10 grand? 5,600 memory. With a 4090. Ship bought this pretty much exact PC for about $4,500. And it had better memory. Has this got custom cooling? Okay, it's got custom cooling. Okay, people are. This is just ripping people off, frankly. This is just ripping people off. Basically, it's cost them hardware-wise probably I don't know, about £4,000 hardware, and they're probably at least doubling the markup. At least doubling the markup. It's insane. Anyway, what were we doing? We were trying to work out how Clicks is getting 1,400 FPS on a $10,000 PC. And I'm trying to work out why Fortnite completely uncapped is a bit lower at the moment, and my CPU utilization is nowhere near 100%. Nowhere near 100% CPU. What did I do with those hardware info ones? Documents. Data, users, me, documents, these two. Copy that. Whack it in documents here. Whack that on. Create a shortcut, please. Whack that here somewhere-ish. Yeah. Right. It's just the portable one. Sensors only. Right, so let's start Fortnite. So, yeah, as I was not that one. As I was saying, that I'm only uncapped FPS. I'm only seeing 60% CPU utilization. What's going on? We're in the wrong game. Yeah, should be conning consumers into spending double than what they actually need to spend. That's insane. So you can see my cores are 1.45-ish, running 5.9. It's probably about right. As long as I'm keeping them relatively cool, that's fine. Shouldn't be degrading them. All right, so as I was saying, if I go into do my preset 100, go into creative, select play. Let's turn on FPS. Yeah. They just try and find the most expensive one and go, yeah, that'll work fine. And then they get normal Windows on, not optimized. Why can't I run 240 FPS? Why is my FPS going down to 60 all the time? I've just spent $10,000. Like that gentleman I helped the other day. He'd spent $6,500 on a new 6.7 thousand $6,700 on a gaming PC, and it was running like dog, and he couldn't work out why it was awful. So I spent 5 hours optimizing it, and now it's rock solid 360, like mine is. All right, so let's have a look. So top right corner there, I know it's a bit small. Should we make the HUD a little bit bigger so you guys can see it? HUD scale. All right, so you can see it a bit better now. Look. So we're over 1,000, but if you look at the CPU utilization, down here, up here, where are you? CPU utilization. Full usage. Look, in the 60s. Peaks in the 60s. Max CPU thread usage, 60s. So if the GPU's not limiting it, and the CPU's not limiting it, and there's hardly any network traffic, and there's hardly any disk I/O, that literally only leaves the memory. Yeah? CPU, memory, GPU, disk, network. They're the 5 things that you could get a bottleneck in. Well, I suppose you could get a bottleneck on the motherboard or something, or I don't know, some other weird place, but they're the main ones. That's why you measure them. So if the CPU utilization is not bottlenecking and the GPU is nowhere near about 20%, yeah, I mean, maybe the motherboard could be faster for helping the memory latency, but I mean, again, it's so I basically wanted to download and install this not Insight. Insight seems to be Insight's the Nvidia one, but the Intel one I just downloaded seems exactly the same app, but with a few more options. It is the same app. So where did I put it? Downloads. Date modified. This one. So let's install it on this one. Let's close hardware info. But it looks like we're going to have to install this driver that it's talking about. Accept the terms, recommended install. No, don't collect my data. Why wouldn't it just install the driver for it? I find that a bit weird. Yeah, so this is definitely lower than it was like a month ago. And I don't know whether it's the driver updates or what. But it's definitely lower. It might be my recent processor suite changes. Maybe. Maybe Fortnite's waiting on something on an E-core that I've now moved to it from a P-core to an E-core, and then it's slower. Maybe. I have reduced, the only other thing I've done is I've reduced the current limit. So I've gone from 400 amps down to 330 amps, just so that Y-crunch is stabilized. Maybe that was it. But I mean, I'd worry if I was Clicks and I'd spent 10,000 on an overclocked hardware, what they've done, because it might not be stable at all. You might be able to get 1400 in here, but you might get game crashes all the time. And it certainly probably wouldn't pass a Cinebench or I don't know, any kind of stress test. All right, finish. All right, so that's installed. Let's have a look. So let's run it. Let's see what kind. Let's see if we can spot any bottlenecks. Into taskbar. There we go. I just want a bit more insight at the moment. Why top end FPS isn't to collect hardware events, run the ping as administrator. Right. Okay then. There we go. So we're going to go profile system. Yeah. Shall I just. Okay. Okay. What memory access? Well, it seems to be going through as opposed to the previous one that didn't seem to like it. Okay. All right. Well, that's mostly grayed out, so let's just do that. Do I do a plus? Or do I just run it? I don't know. Do I just do this stuff by default? You just try it? That's a postcard. How does it run for? Have I got to run this for like 15 minutes? Well, I only need 10 seconds, I suppose. Analyzing results. Interesting, interesting. Oh, great. Cannot locate debug information. Right. Thinking about it. There we go. 13 seconds. Expand a selection to see submetrics. Okay. Click it to analyze performance details in the bottom up window. Restart 4. All right, so let's maximize this a bit. This is the summary tab. Is this in any particular order or is this alphabetical? That looks alphabetical to me. That last precise events per sample. Memory. What am I doing with this? These are hardware events. What is that? Where's the memory stuff? This is memory access 0, hardware events. Okay, what does it? I need to look that up again. I need to look this up again. Where was I a minute ago? It was Intel VTune. VTune memory profiling. Is it this? Don't know. Wait. That wasn't the thing I was looking at. It's memory consumption. No, it wasn't consumption. What was the thing I was looking at? Was it this? Yeah, it was this. Okay, so I need to follow this really, don't I? To analyze cache misses. Run these types of analysis. Well, we just did the memory access analysis. Wait, so did I need to do all three? Yeah, let's do another one. So we're doing a profiling thing. So this is memory access, right? So it said microarchitecture extrapolation. So that as well. We've got to add that to the list, I guess. And what was the other one? HPC performance characterization. See that? There it is. Add that to the list. I'll customize a copy of the selected. Oh, okay. So how do I do this? How do I do multiple ones? Or is it doing all of these? Okay, it looks like it's doing all of these. Okay, by default. Yeah, performance snapshot. Okay. So run it. 10 seconds. Is it running? Okay, 3 seconds. Don't need more than 10, do I? Okay, 10 seconds. This is running in the background. Fortnite's running in the background. Yeah, so it's still running, even when I'm doing this in profile stuff. Okay. Escape to cancel. Right. What we got? Wait, what? Choose your next analysis type. Why don't it just collects all of it? Memory bound. This metric shows how memory subsystem issues affect the performance. Memory bound measures a fraction of slots where pipeline could be stalled due to demand load or store instructions. This accounts mainly for incomplete in-flight memory demand loads that coincide with execution starvation, in addition to less common cases where stores could imply black pressure on the pipeline. Okay. So the E cores are more memory bound than the P cores. Yeah, these are the P cores, these are the E cores. This is actually quite interesting. See, I'm fine with the amount. It's not maxing out the CPUs. What's this doing? Performance. This is quite interesting because it's telling me where the basically it's taking most of the time up. More about the P cores. Back end bound. Hmm. It's doing IPC of 0.65. Tuning potential. Oh, that's interesting. Memory stalls. The IPC may be too low. This could be caused by issues such as memory stalls, instruction starvation, branch misprediction, or long latency instructions. Explore the other hardware related metrics to identify what is causing low IPC. There's quite a lot of red flag zones here. So that's a red flag zone. No, wait. I don't want to configure the analysis. Go back to what I had. There is poor utilization of logical CPU cores in your application. Well, yeah, that's DirectX 11 for you. There is low microarchitecture usage of hardware resources. Okay, so it's the red flags I need to look at. And there is quite a lot of red flags going on at the moment. I think I definitely need to spend more time learning this. Quite useful, this. If it's pointing out where the bottlenecks are, maybe I can tune them a little bit. So this is saying it's a red flag because this metric represents how efficiently the application utilized the CPUs available to help evaluate the parallel efficiency of the application. Shows the percent of average CPU utilization by all logical CPUs. Okay, well, so I think what that's complaining about is the fact that it's not utilizing the E-cores enough, but I don't want the game running on the E-cores. I want it running on these. But the fact that I'm running Fortnite right now at 1000 FPS and these aren't all maxed tells me there's a bottleneck somewhere that isn't the CPU. Has that just crashed? I think that's just crashed. That's just crashed. Crashed the PC. Too much alt tabbing when you're doing performance. Yeah, it crashed. Black screen of death. Yeah, I do need to check whether or not whether they've released my updated BIOS yet. MSI Meg A said 790. Still not out. Still not out. Nope. Okay, so we're back to this. So it's basically complaining that it's not using the E-cores. Fine. Memory access says it doesn't have any issues, but there's no red flags for the memory. Well, there's a memory flag there. So basically my L1, 2, and 3 cache is not fast enough, so it's bottlenecking that cache. Doesn't seem to be bottlenecking the DRAM though. So me overclocking my memory is not going to make any difference at all because it's trying to run on the L cache. The metric shows how often the machine was stalled on L1, L2, and L3 caches. While cache hits a service much more quickly than hits in DRAM, they can still incur a significant performance penalty. This metric also includes coherence penalties for shared data. Potential tuning. So if it's under 1, it's likely memory bound. Yeah. How do you tune your L1 and L2 and L3 cache? You can't. No, I know. Don't really care about the E-core tuning because we're not running the game on the E-cores. I mean, that's just complaining that it's not being distributed across all the cores evenly. I mean, there are no thingies here. Okay, so well, let me focus on this. This matrix shows how often the machine was stalled in L1, L2, and L3 cache. While cache hits service much more quickly than hits in DRAM, they can still incur a significant performance penalty. This metric also includes coherence penalties for shared data. Data fetches from caches. Check memory access analysis to see if accesses to L2 or L3 caches are problematic, and consider applying the same performance tuning as you would for cache missing workload. This may include reducing the data working set size. I can't control that. Improving data access locality, blocking or partitioning the working set to fit in the lower cache. Exploiting hardware prefetches. Consider using software prefetches, but note that they can interfere with normal loads, increase latency, and increase pressure on the memory system. This metric includes coherent penalties for shared data. Check microarchitecture to see if contested access. So I find that interesting that the vast majority of the code is cache bound, which explains why you guys with X3D CPUs with 96, is it 96 megabytes of L3 cache have better FPS than me with 32. 36. You got 3 times more L3 cache, so you're not going to be as cache bound as I am, which is why you get higher FPS. I just don't think there's anything I can do with my memory to alleviate that. Because look, that is where the cache bound on the P cores is where. I mean, what can you do to make that faster? Make the ring faster? But the ring's burning out already on Intel CPUs because it's pumping in too much voltage. So how can I overclock the cache without touching the ring? I don't think you can I? Let's have a look at that guide again. Come on, where's the guide? Come on, what's going on here? Oh, here we go. Is that right? It's this one. Opens memory usage viewpoint. Memory usage viewpoint. See, why is it saying it's not working now? Sure, this was working before. Ah, is it? No. Ah, it's probably because I didn't run this as thingy, did I? Okay. File location, properties, compatibility, run as administrator. All right, then I can drag this down to here. Then I can do that. All right. Memory access again. See, now it's working. You have to run it as administrator. Okay, so what am I looking at? Again with the history. Viewpoint. Code sections are. Yeah, I don't really want that. Right at the top and bottom up window for memory as. See, this is all code analysis. I mean, there's nothing I can do with this. I'm trying to look at this from a user standpoint where they could tune their computer to kind of alleviate bottlenecks, not tune code to alleviate bottlenecks. I have no control over the code. I mean, if I run this now with nothing else running, what happens? I want a new one. What's this? New, I don't know, analysis. Just performance snapshot. Play. I run this for 10 seconds with nothing else running and compare the two. Well, that's interesting. No load on the system at all, right? I'm still getting bottlenecks. What? I probably shouldn't have done that in, I don't know, would it have put it into thingy mode? I'm a bit worried that that wasn't in performance mode. Get rid of this. New analysis. Performance thingy. Let's go again. Let's actually keep it in bitsum. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, so this is interesting. Compare the two. Ooh. Hello. 21%, 15%. So it's not really memory bound. It must run some kind of mini load, surely. How is this being anything bound at the moment? What on the desktop? Memory access 21%. Not doing anything. I suppose these are percentages, not amounts. It's just changing the percentages. All right. Have a look at this. What's hotspots? Okay, that's just configuring it. I don't want to configure the analysis, do I? This is suggesting that it's the the microarchitecture usage. Front end bound. Predicts the next address. I wish I could actually run Fortnite on this. Well, that's interesting. I can then compare the change. Oh, that is interesting. That is interesting. So if I made a change, I could then compare them before and after, see whether it's better or worse. That's pretty cool. Hmm. Again, I think this is more for developers. This is the problem I've got. Is there anything I can do to tune up my L1, L2, L3 cache other than increase the ring speed? I don't think there is, you know. Cache allocation technology. L2 capability not detected. So what? No. That's cache allocation technology. I want to see if I can drill down a little bit more. Okay. Looks like you can drill down a bit more. Platform diagram. Oh, that's kind of cool. Platform visualization histogram. Okay, so maybe I need to run this now on with Fortnite running. Okay, that is kind of cool. This is a hotspots. All right, I'm slowly getting the hang of this. Let's start up Fortnite again. It doesn't crash with all the alt tabbing. We need a load. We need a load on the system. Go, 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 go. Come on, come on, come on. Jump in there. I mean, do you guys find this interesting with me working this out as I go? Or would you rather just me tell you what the answers are at the end after I found them? Or do you enjoy watching the process of me stumbling around trying to work out this stuff out? I don't know. I don't know whether it's worth streaming this stuff, whether I should just do it offline and then work it out and then come back to you guys when I've found something, or whether you like watching me look at this stuff. Why does that say 360 FPS? Hello? What's going on? What's going on? Why can I not get 1000 FPS all of a sudden? Why is it limiting to... Oh, did I start? Restart the computer, forgot to turn off this. There we go. Now we got it. There we go. Right, so that seems a bit higher now. I haven't changed anything, and we're now on 1100-ish. The nature of Fortnite depends which server you connect to will dictate what FPS you get. And you get a different server each time. That's the nature of Fortnite, I'm afraid. Alright. So I'm getting 1100 FPS. Okay, so now let's have a look at hotspots. I'm going to restart that. Make sure this is good. Configure analysis. I want to do hotspots, but it's user mode sampling. Does not support system-wide profiling. Please specify hardware event-based sampling in the analysis type. Configuration to profile. What? User mode sampling does not support. Please specify hardware event-based sampling in the analysis type configuration. Hello? How, what? Oh, maybe I can do an attach to process. What's the process name? Process name is Fortnite client. See if it can do this. Fortnite client Win64 shipping. Oh, probably will block me with easy anti-cheat, but yeah. So it's looking for hotspots with this process. Might be quite interesting. Have a look. No. Injector failed, as I thought, because easy anti-cheat blocks it. So I can only do this on a system level basis. I can only do it on a system level basis. But then how do I do hotspots? Have a look at the memory access. Automatic. Like that. Yes. No wrappers on. All right. All right, what we got? So according to this, I'm not memory bound. According to this, even though I'm running Fortnite 1000 FPS in the background, I'm not memory bound. The E cores are. Wish it would tell me what blooming what processes are doing it. That would be useful. So I'm not memory bound. Just the E cores are saying it's memory bound. So what is it? According to this, I've just run 10 seconds. Probably that thread there. There's Fortnite. Why can't I scroll? Okay, so they're all fine. RAM bandwidth package. I'm not using up any bandwidth. I'm not using up max bandwidth for my DRAM. So making my memory faster, have higher bandwidth, won't increase my FPS. Which is interesting, according to this. Well, unless it's only doing the L cache. This is just DRAM, right? Hardware event. Hotspots by CPU utilization. Oh, hello. So this is poor, whatever this effective CPU utilization histogram. Oh, that's because if I turned off all my E-cores, then it would probably be in ideal. That's fine, so I don't really care about that. Oh, this is interesting. Top hotspots, kernel stuff. Unknown. Outside any known module. That'll be Fortnite then. Yeah. Memory usage. See, I'm finding this really interesting because it's saying that there's low memory bandwidth usage. I mean, yeah, my memory can do up to 117, I think, megabits a second. But during Fortnite, it's hardly using any. That's insane. I've got it on maximum FPS. How is it hardly using any memory bandwidth? That's crazy. That's interesting. The CPI rate just under 1. So what did they say it was? If it's under 1, it's typically for instruction bound code. So it's the code, it's the game engine. It's the game engine doing it. It's under 1. If it's over 1, it may show. So if it's over 1, it's memory bound. If it's under 1, it's code bound. But then how's clicks getting 1400 FPS? It's this I find the most interesting, that it's hardly using any bandwidth. That I am gobsmacked at. To learn bandwidth capabilities, refer to your system specifications. Right, so close Fortnite a sec. And I'll show you what my bandwidth is. Right? Not benchmate. We want OCCT downloads. Have I put this back on since? What's the difference in these two, please? That's a beta. I thought I had this installed on here, to be honest. I rewrote it somewhere. I wrote software. The game wouldn't be using max bandwidth unless you're running out of VRAM. So, Sky, okay. So, if I've got Fortnite on unlimited FPS, and so it's getting over 1,000 FPS, and the CPU isn't maxed out, and the GPU isn't maxed out, and clearly the bandwidth isn't maxed out for the memory, network isn't maxed out, and disk I/O isn't maxed out. What is limiting the FPS? What is limiting it? Is it just the latency? Is it so if you've got to go on a journey, there are two things that can determine how quickly you get there. One, how long the journey is. Two, how fast you go on the journey. And if you can't go any faster, then the only way to shorten the time for the journey is to shorten the length of the journey, the route that you take. So for code, if you've got efficient code, you're taking a more direct route, and so it's a shorter path, a shorter journey. But if you've got inefficient code, then you're taking a longer path and you're taking a longer journey. So you can make the code more efficient to reduce the distance taken, or you can make the system go faster and you get there quicker. But when you're running max FPS completely unlimited, then it's got to be a distance thing, surely. Then it's the latency, it's how long it's taking to get there. Because if the physical hardware isn't being maxed out anywhere, then it's just taking a long time to get there because the code is inefficient. But then why does the X3D AMD CPUs with more L3 cache get higher FPS? I suppose it's getting through that inefficient code quicker. See where I'm coming from? I'll show you my bandwidth. Benchmark, latency, stuff. But again, I mean, if you're talking about VRAM, I mean, assuming you're assuming that it's a GPU bound game, whereas Fortnite's a CPU bound game. My GPU is bored out of its mind with Fortnite. I mean, you can see how much faster the L1 cache is here, and the L2 cache, and the L3 cache, and then you've got the DRAM, which is 116.
The test schedule is complete.
Oh, thank you. 116 gigabytes a second. Yeah, and you can see that L3 cache is like 4 times that. L1 cache is in the 6,000s. So it's like 600 times faster. So those X3D CPUs for AMD are effectively running 4 times faster than DRAM is. So overclocking your memory your DRAM memory is not going to make a huge difference if you're bound, if most of the game code is running in LCAC, L1, L2, L3 cache. Because I've only got, I've only got a little bit of that. I've only got 36 meg, whereas they've got 96, 92 meg. So they can run a lot more of that code in the 4 times faster memory than I can. So the rest of that code ends up going to the DRAM and is running 4 times slower with much higher latency, like 67 nanoseconds compared to 44 nanoseconds. See, this is what I just want to know what's bottlenecking. That's what's driving me mad. It feels like I'm driving around with a handbrake on right now. That's what it feels like. Because my CPU's not maxing out, my GPU's not maxing out, my memory doesn't seem to be fully being utilized. So what is the handbrake? If I knew what the handbrake was, I could kind of say, look, Epic, fix your code. Or I could go into the BIOS and maybe try and overclock something. Or I could, I don't know. I don't know what's doing it. And really all that's left is the memory. But given these results, it's not using any bandwidth, so it's got to be a latency issue. It's nowhere near the 116 that we just showed that we could do. 116 read. So that's kind of here. But the game is on running in the background, running full FPS, and we're doing a system profile, and the DRAM is barely being used. It's hardly using anything. So it must be pretty much using. I mean, was there a is memory access, but is there a L? See, here we go. Performance. It's not even saying it's L1, L2, L3 bounds. I mean, if we tuned it, potentially, look, you'd only gain a tiny bit more. It's like I ran this test without Fortnite running in the background. That's what's weird. Maybe it picked a CPU that wasn't doing anything. No, it's doing the E cores and it's doing the P cores, so it must be doing it. Bandwidth over time. It didn't use anything. It's pretty much all read, hardly any write. Can I even zoom? Can I like zoom in on this? I don't know. Maybe I can zoom in on this a little bit. Zooming out. Total gigabytes a second. 4, 7. Nowhere near the limits. The 116. It's barely using it. This has been really interesting using this profiler, to be honest. When we ran this one, which was the overall one, it was saying it. I mean, the logical core utilization I can understand because it's looking at E-cores as well and saying, well, you're not spreading out the load across the E-cores. Yeah, I don't want to spread the load across the E-cores because that's slower. Yeah, there we go. Zeppo's watching. So Zeppo does get higher FPS. It's like it unlocks it a little bit by having more. So it's running lower frequency CPU, but he's got a lot more L3 cache. And that's really the only difference between the systems. You're running slower. No, we're all running the same Windows 11, the same tuning optimizations. The only difference is AMD versus Intel. Intel is running higher frequencies, but less L1, L2, L3 cache than the AMD X3D. And I'm also running faster DDR5. Everything else is the same, but you get a lot more FPS on the AMDs because of, I can only assume, because of all the L3 cache. I mean, this to me is really interesting because it's saying it's not memory bound here, cache bound. What's this? It's 23%. It's not used, it's not, but is that on a bandwidth? How often the machine was stalled on L1, L2, and L3 caches? So what is doing it? What is limiting the FPS? What is it? It's got to be the L3 cache. I mean, as I say, we can ignore that. If I knew what it was, I could potentially tune it. But I can't identify in Fortnite or what it is specifically in Fortnite that's doing this, because you can't inject the monitor what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. You can't inject the monitors for this into Fortnite because it's blocked with easy anti-cheat. So you can't do that. So the only thing you can do from a consumer point of view is look at the overall system performance, which is this. So this is me running Fortnite in the background, unlimited FPS, and then running this for 10 seconds and trying to see what part of the system is bottlenecking, what physical part of the system is bottlenecking. And according to this, it's complaining, anything with a red flag, it's complaining about the fact that I'm not spreading the load across the E-cores. Obviously, I'm not going to spread the game across E-cores. I think the game will choose P-cores over E-cores even if I allowed it to. Even if I said use all of them. So that's that. Yeah, this is the microtransactions. Is a key metric that helps estimate in percent how effectively your code runs in the current microarchitecture. Microarchitecture usage can be impacted by long latency memory, floating point, or SIMD operations. Non-retired instructions due to branch mispredictions, instruction starvation in the front end. So it's basically how well the Fortnite code runs on the PC. So there's a lot of flags there. So that's the Unreal Engine code, basically. This is my memory. So it looks like it's a combination of the Unreal Engine and memory limitations. That's what it looks like. 1080p gaming will be a totally different Bottleneck 1080. I figured that out after switching to a way to test is configure DSR factor to. All I want to do, all I care about, Sky, is having solid 360 FPS. All I care about. So my monitor won't go above 1080p. It won't go above that. So my maximum FPS in creative is what, 1100-ish, 1100-ish. And if others are getting way more than that, 1200, 1400, then they're either doing less work by turning down the graphics, or they're doing faster work by having more L3 caches, or overclocking their CPU even higher. But I've got the top of the range. I've got the top of the range Intel CPU. So I'm running 5.9 gigahertz. So unless Clicks is running like 6.4 gigahertz or something, which definitely will not be stable, then I don't see how he's getting 1400. If he's running a Threadripper or something, I don't know. If he's probably running a 14900K or KF, probably a K. And then some idiots come along and gone, right, 6.2 gigahertz for all the P cores. I don't care if it's stable. This is what you're going to get. So what can I do? If I'm cache bound and it's waiting, doing loads of waits, how can I optimize my L1, L2, L3 cache so that it has less stalls? How often the machine was stalled waiting for L1, L2, and L3 caches? So, for my knowledge, the only way to speed those things up is to overclock the ring bus in the BIOS. But Intel have a known problem of the too much voltage going through the ring bus right now, and it's burning it out. So overclocking the ring bus is a very, very bad idea for Intel right now. So I don't really know what knobs and dials I have to turn here to kind of optimize. Generally speaking, tweaking your OS will give you better lows. It won't give you higher FPS, because your FPS is determined by how fast your memory is in Fortnite, how fast your CPU is in Fortnite. That's on a CPU bound game. That's what is determining what FPS you have. And if you want more, then you have to overclock your memory in your CPU. Optimizing your operating system will only help the lows most of the time, and it will also help latency, because you'll be reducing what's running in the background, which is distracting your CPU, saying, okay, I've got to go and do that now. Okay, I've got to go and do that now. All the context switching. So the less you have it context switching and going to other places and doing other things in the background, the more it can focus on what it's trying to do, and then the game, and then the better your FPS lows will be. And the better your latency will be. So, but if you want more FPS, typically you need faster hardware or overclocking the hardware that you've got. Or getting rid of some kind of, I don't know, if there's some kind of major bottleneck on your system that's using up a ton of CPU or a ton of GPU that's doing something else. But if something just on the desktop, if you're not doing that, then you shouldn't have that issue. That's more of a error fixing problem than a optimization problem. Yeah, so what do we got from this? Where do we go? Anybody got any suggestions on what I can tune based on the fact that it looks like the Unreal Engine is a problem and the memory bound is an issue? I mean, 15.1 of pipeline slots. If anything, the memory is more than the I find this interesting, but I don't know what to do with it. This is the weird thing. I just don't know what to do with it. What can I do with it? Is there anything I can do with it? It's 12%. Yeah, 11.5. 7.6, 10. Focus on the screen. But yeah, that is fascinating. The fact that it's using hardly any memory bandwidth. I'm tempted to change how I'm optimizing, how I'm overclocking memory because of this. I'm tempted to go for really low CAS latency and not care about the frequency. And have lower bandwidth, but better latency from this. That to me suggests maybe I can optimize my DRAM so that I have better latency but worse bandwidth. Is it worth trying? Don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it's 1 o'clock. I need to go and make some lunch. Wait. I've been missing messages from Rapper. Okay. I should be done around what 3:34 my time. Okay, what's that? 9 p.m. I think that's 9 p.m. All right, that's fine. Right. Anybody else got any other suggestions? I mean, you can see here the difference between the DRAM memory, the DDR5, and the cache speeds. The latency is so much. I mean, the next gen Intel are meant to have a load more L2 cache. If that's the case, it's going to make DDR5 almost redundant. I think what I'm going to do, I think my plan here is I'm going to wait for Intel to bring out their next gen CPUs. If they're going to they're meant to be getting rid of hyperthreading, but if they're going to bung a load of L2 cache on the CPUs for gaming purposes, then that's going to make them a lot better. Just screw Cinebench, the games we care about. Cinebench, you'll get much bigger scores by having a ton of E-cores and hyperthreading on. But Intel know that when a tech tuber gets a new CPU, all they do is they plug it in and press go on Cinebench. So that's why they've added a bunch of E-cores and they've added hyperthreading. because it increases that score. It goes from 42,000 instead of 26,000. Even though in game you'll get faster on the 26,000 than you will on the 42,000. But yeah, if they make this redundant, then yeah, let's have a load more cash. Anyway, so I think my plan is run my current rig, and then when the new CPUs come out from Intel, I think I'm going to send it back to CyberPower and say, can you please upgrade my CPU and upgrade my motherboard, please. And that will fix the instability issues as well. Motherboard, yeah. Yeah, I'd love a 2DIMM motherboard, but as I say, CyberPower do not make one. They don't sell one, CyberPower. Although they have to start doing a more expensive MSI one recently. Is it the more, I think that's 4DIMM again. Let me have a look. Pretty sure CyberPower have just started doing I don't know, HydroX. Let's get a really good one and then modify it. What are the options? Motherboard. So there's the one, yeah. So they've started doing the Godlike. Yeah, so you need a really big case, but they started doing the Godlike. An extra 400 quid. Wow. That's expensive. But isn't the Godlike the Z790 Godlike? Is that 2DIMM or is it 4? It's 4. Look, still 4. Still 4. So what are you paying extra for? I mean, honestly. There's still 4 slots. And there's still not enough room between that bit and that bit to put a blooming RAM cooling fan on it. There's no space to hook it into there. Really annoying. I've just made it like 1 millimeter between these plugs and the top of the slots. So yeah, I don't know. Well, what do I up that to? What do I up it to? Yeah, when the new one, when the Z890s, 890s come out, then it might be worth looking at. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go and make some lunch. I'm very, very hungry. But yeah, I found that really interesting with the bandwidth, especially the bandwidth of how much memory you're actually using. As I thought you were using a load more memory. For bandwidth, how much it's actually doing stuff. I know you're using, I think it's using about, I think you go up to about 10. So it's probably using 6 or 7 gigabytes worth of memory, but the amount of bandwidth it's doing anything with that's completely new to me. Didn't realize it would be that low. It's hardly anything. Anyway, right, making lunch. I'll be back after lunch for some, I don't know, what am I going to do? Shall I look at overclocking my memory where it prioritizes latency over bandwidth? See if that helps. Now I've got a 4080 Super. But as I say, it's bored out of its mind, the 4080. Bored out of its mind. It's running like 15%. Yeah, that's the one I've got. It's really good, but 4090 would be just even more bored. It's a CPU bound game, Fortnite. So how do I optimize that? And if memory latency is the only thing I can optimize, then I think I'm going to need to do some tweaking in the BIOS, because I'm running what, 7,466 as the frequency for the memory, for the DRAM, for the DDR5, and I'm running CL34. It's already pretty fast memory. But maybe I need to take the frequency down and the CL number down with it. Maybe it's more about the latency. Maybe what I'll do is I'll stick it, because the XMP 7200. Maybe what I'll do, and then CL34. Maybe what I'll do, instead of increasing the frequency, I'll see how low I can go with the latency. Leave it at 7,200 and then take the CL down to 32, 30, 28 and see if that makes a difference. Reduce the latency down and then see if the FPS then start going up. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that after lunch. Sound like a plan? Sound like a plan. All right, guys. Yeah, catch you in about an hour and a half, I reckon. All right, see you soon. Bye for now.